So this is more like a discussion group. Of course, we have two Dharma Geshes here. It's like a monastic debate. I'm just the middle person trying to translate, mediate between you. So any questions about Dharma or based upon the teaching Geshe has been giving, based upon the discussions the Dharma Geshes have been doing on Wednesday or Monday? So it's an open book discussion. Yes, go ahead.
On the website, what we've just done here, will it be the text?
What do you mean? I don't know if there's English translation of that. Oh, you just want the Tibetan? Okay, so the website can get registered. Happy to do that. Would anybody like to start off asking questions? There may be a traveling mic somewhere in case, I don't know, do we need that for the cyber? Oh, that's behind us. Yeah, not you. So if anybody would like to ask questions, please use it so that, thank you. We have a lot of Dharma friends in the cyberspace, you know.
Yes.
My name is Cynthia, and today is my first visit to the temple. Don't think I'm crazy, but I've been kind of teaching myself or studying the teachings of Buddhism through YouTube.
Thank you. It's okay. It's working. It's working. It's working.
Okay. This is better?
Yes.
Okay. But like I said, I've been teaching myself about the Buddhism teaching through YouTube, and which has been a great help for me. But things has been kind of resonated in my spirit to follow the teachings. And one thing was brought to mind. I've always drawn a picture of a lotus. I didn't know why. I didn't even know what it was. And then when I started following the teachings, I noticed that the lotus blossoms from dirt. And anyway, I just feel compelled to be here. I do have a lot of questions. They're not in any particular order, but I guess as I hear things, I'll have more to say. But I'm really interested, and I'm here to learn.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you say your name is Cynthia?
Cynthia, yes.
Oh, thank you. Welcome, Cynthia. First time, always welcome. Special welcome to you. This is a very friendly group, as you can see. So, morang lai chena ani because of the YouTube with on and language mango niente guesa, and then I'll just share some mango shibi put on a lot of some shibi yungudus, right? So the tanda mix egg did kadu delia chiwapia came mess, that's about chiwa dance on a young and chiwa the shana pugins, right? And then the zawa delia dan language so lobjon casota loves it. So I translated basically what you just said. No, you can take your time. It's okay. If you have a question, you can. If not, you can take your time. Okay.
Okay. Well, my first question is, am I in the right place?
Okay. 但我能最常里啊，英语，能最常啥叫大列的儿呗，啥个的，就是在列的儿呗，第几种上的儿呗，那的，条件。So what the Geshe Gyeltsen means the PhD, top-notch Buddhist scholar here. Just my footnote, they have spent more than 25 years, like day and night studying it. So what he said is this, he liked your question that this is one of the many Dharma centers, right? So what we have done is created this whole environment and conditions for people who are interested to study Dharma. That's what we're doing. Now, to answer your question, are you in the right place? That's you have to figure it out, right? You may come to the teaching and listen. You said, okay, this is really making sense to me, and I want to be here. Or you might go to other Dharma centers and listen to their teachings, say whichever teaching really speaks to you, so to speak, right? And so you have to find that answer for yourself. What we have done is just created the favorable conditions, supportive conditions for anybody interested in Buddhism or Dharma to learn.
Okay, so what is the meaning of Dhamma? I've read that. I know there's a Dhamma Lama, but I don't know anything about that. I just, like I said, I just start following the teachings
Sure.
of Buddhism, but I don't really
Okay.
know the different variations.
Sure. 알아단 당 아주 최세의 권한 통다를 지카르시에요. 그래서와 권한 다지 송제 먹문년대 위해서와 다지 최고 고등으로 드시는 거다. 최세.
최세야 지당아서 늘 빼자셔라. 당아서 권주 상지권 최고니 근내 권주 최권주来최세의 조원로든 빼도 제외는 매일 빼자셔라.
노선.
최최스의 난추세야 지당아서 남는 최모고요. 이내 난추의 가르치듯이 아주 이 생디 나로라 녀몽이 강에 리저와 강에 뜻 상황에서 나타나신체 안 딜려야 편하게 매난신데 아니 아주 난슈나론다 로제 들어 있는 도도도 등 아주 난슈세에 가르쳐 난생 나로라 강에 뜻세야기 아니 타감로 저와 딜랑서 추스이거라.
So Dharma is a Sanskrit term, so which we normally translate as Buddha's teaching or discourse. And of course, Buddha's teaching is counted among many religions that we have in the world. And just to give a sense of one sense of Dharma or the Buddha's teaching is, metaphorically speaking, it's like a medicine. Okay? And so all of us have what we call afflictive emotions. My footnotes such as anger and jealousy and all of that. So we said, so that's like a sickness. The afflictive emotions really disturb our mind, and metaphorically speaking, they are like a sickness that requires treatment. So Dharma is like a medicine that we can take in order to cure ourselves of the sickness of delusion. So that's just one way, simple way to understand what Dharma means. Dharma means, in other words, it's a practice or a path or a method that helps us to be able to deal with. We have a lot of internal, drama ramas, all this, stress and all unwanted things happening. So all those drama ramas are coming basically out of delusions. And so Dharma is a way or a method practice to counteract them. Yeah, thank you.
아니 아주 베이 나로다 난추来저라 지니요. 나라 되자는 아주 생이체. 제 치기다 나니 나체. 최来的 아주 베이 나로는 고집해야 보여랬어. 그래서 최来되자는 조당와 저주당와 쓰여라. 그래서 다 나로 생이 도어의 생 야와의 저주당에 되는 아주 난추 최쓰여라. 이 땅로 당당 셰샤 저 용도를 난추 용로 쓰여라.
So in Tibetan we have translated the Dharma as Che or Nang Che, which in English is translated just simply as Buddhism or Buddha Dharma. But if we really stick to the Tibetan word, it gives us a lot of sense of the meaning. Nang means inside, inner, right? What have you got inside? It's the mind, isn't it? And the Che, the Tibetan word, has a sense of transformation, right? That change. So we can bring about all kinds of positive changes within ourselves, in our mind, right? So that which helps us to be able to have that inner transformation, inner positive changes. That's what we call Nangche, or the teaching or the Dharma. So the Tibetan words gives you that sense, right? Yeah. Yes, go ahead, Renee.
You might have one of the Geshe show you around the room and explain things to you after the teaching. Just to what are you
상선을 그래서 대바지 대세 결혼처럼 야고래서 구성 투된 데서와 나고 라이브 가보러 왔답니다.
That's just a suggestion.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can come back to you, okay? So whenever we have time, so please don't feel pressure, right?
Could someone explain to Cynthia the meaning of His Holiness name Dalai Lama? Because I think I heard she thought that was Dharma. It's Dalai Lama.
Sure.
Thank you.
Moranga lamna molia and che the ming ne the kuntin sanlia Dalai Lama sugorwa. Di tonda de karla gore such deshe jorojesa. The engine at Dalai Lama Dalai Lama on that di tonda.
소부기 취적이 다 인조대 라마라는 거를
다 자주 쓰고로
달래라는 자서라.
No.
소부기 취적이 돈 샘피죠.
So, I mean, in English, it has been rendered as Dalai Lama, but in the original term, which is the Mongolian term, is called Dalai Lama, not Dalai Lama, right? Dalai Lama. And so that was honorary title offered by the emperor of Mongolia to one of the Dalai Lamas. And what it really means Dalai, which in English Dalai means ocean in the Mongolian language. And Lama means like something who is unsurpassable or supreme, right? Who is the highest level. But in English, for the sake of simplicity, everybody translates as the ocean of wisdom, right? That's what the Dalai Lama means. Kind of roughly it's there, right? But Mongolian term, Dalai means ocean, and Lama means somebody who is right on the top, right? Unsurpassable, right? That's what it means. Yeah. Sure.
Why is it said? Is it true that? Because I've heard it said that patience is the utmost virtue. Why is this true? How does one practice like non-anger or patience?
How does one?
How does one practice it?
Oh, okay. Ngadi wa kaso Quran tiwa dan sobat sigoro wage. Ane kaso sobat de kiwana ke chore chi labar maro konjo. Sobat segan di kada.
알라 저보다 보카토메스.
sobat bokadu me sa chorwa. So this sanza di ki ane di ngone thagara rebe asa rowa. Ime no sobat segan de condition yamne chore asa.
알라. 저번에 치야 저도 되더라. 맞아 저번에 지당 마무리야. 동원 당내 저보다. 아니 너절에 지문이야 배도 저번에 동원 당내 저번 줄랑에 생겨 저번 송도 되더라. 그래서 마무시 먹어지라. 저번 년에 제당 토니 다 다지부 제기 놓고 라른 쳔문하고 저번에 나생 이와 마보여라. 대수 봐. 안 되셔야지.
주주를
전주는 지글려오지. 아니 라른 쳔문하고 전주 가서 라른 쳔문하 전주 시즌 뭐 장여라. 라른 쳔문하고 야슈 다 고드슈도 다지슈여라. 대치도산의 코로나 다지부 세계나 라른 쳔문고 단다 저빌려 다 그래서 파진 주시에 나올라 단다 저바시 가도 저러 어디 가도 된 시사오스 라면 쳔보다 나는 난도라냐서 인지나도
노서 다 서버 그런 거 어디 세션을 하러
네 대체 송찬아 안티니 대체 그래서
so you said the patient is translated as the best virtue or something like that, right? But in this I think came straight out of Bodhisattva Mahasattva Shantideva's line, which in the Tibetan Sobattabi Katub, right? So Katub is more like, the rough translation would be discipline, right? So there's nothing there's no discipline that's greater than patience, something like that. It was not translated as virtues, Of course, it's a very big subject and topic, and if you really are interested to know more particularly about tolerance or patience or Soba in Tibetan, so Geshe suggested that in the Lamrim, Stages of Path to Enlightenment treatise, when you look within the section where we talk about the perfection of patience, right? Shanti Paramita, perfection of patience, so you will find extensive explanation about what it is and different types of patience, such as we have, the patience of willingly accepting difficulties or challenges, things like that. So they are all that. And then, of course, Bodhisattva Master Shantideva, this is the 8th century Indian Buddhist master, in his Guide to Bodhisattva's Way of Life, has a particular chapter on patience, right? That's all about patience. But Geshe suggested more like the Lamrim treatises on the path, because that also refers a lot to Shantideva's work there.
당연히 비선으로 지시는 아주 비전 공주로 사기가 아니라 공주 사기에다 딜이야 된다 라면 샤문도 드즈나로 마부 송여라 같은 노드로 제번에 미지기 처럼라 지칭에 버더 라바당 안에 텐디시 제바이나다 아주 유즈비 유를 신주체야 된다 송여라스 배나 미지기 소소를 치 냠바도 지칭에로 라바이나 안처럼 신주체야스 디치들 신주체 다 조저버스데선 미추 가를 라바인 디 수술이야 신의 조 포마지와 제 파강고 시에다 저비 되고라 제가 디 아니 게시 미지 찌게 바로지 라바 차샤와이나 안디 찌게 발라야디 아니 용 용도 요나죠와 네방 신주체야 되는 송요레스
no so
단 전주 신문하는 주발의 차샤야로
no
비 주발의 차샤 미지 쳐라 주발 쉬어이나 안처럼 콘도 주발의 사고 그래 안 주발 쉬행이 미들 사고 그래 다 게시처럼 콘 주발들처럼 콘도 사고 말하던 거죠 미들 사고 봐
no
다 미들 콘도 사고야 개요만 간선처럼 주발들 콘도 사고 만도 왔어
no
간선 미들 코랑 와메버디 코랑 주지 묘모디 채워라 봐
no
코랑 주지 묘모디 콜라 라메버 스웨치는 아니 코랑도 쉬어라 봐
no
티 쉬고요 인자 아니 미들 콘도 사야만도 왔어 주발 콘도 마사와 나신기 미들 콘도 사야만도 왔어 안디 가르쳐를 두잖아요 아니 미들 라메 와지고 콘도 좋아 가면기 바샤던 텐데 용이 비왕기 드리고 콘 레조로 봐
no
대인들잖아요 아니 가지고 콘도 사서스나면도 수소는 봐 원내 용에 대용산라고 좀 혼자부터 가르쳐하고도 쓰잖아요 파기 바르부이 주주 콘도 대 차대요 그래서
no so
찌테레스 조파 유일하다
no
다 수수수 라줄을 삼당바이나 수수 동은 용야 될 주전 수수긴 하마 좀 하마 천 사메 와이나 친들이야 미치조 방에도 도자도 처음 쓰바지로 와
no
그래서 다 랑이 장 레하마 사요 다 띠니 속이 토네 아니 가르소 다 징년 받들이야 수수 콘도 많아 제텔파 zubagonya 라 텔파 아니 신조도스 제전 수수 콘도도 마도스 짜고 봐
just to give one example of how to cultivate patience. Let's say someone says unkind word to you. Okay, somebody just yaks at you. Okay, there. And so you're potentially going to get upset or angry, isn't it? And so in the Lamrim and also in the Shantideva's guide, it talks about where right now we can do some kind of critical thinking analysis here, right? And how you got angry or what made you really become upset or angry, isn't it? What is disturbing your mind? Is it the words, right, that somebody has used? Or in the guide, really they used to talk about somebody hit you with a stick, right? And so at that time, if you critically assess that, what are you getting angry at? Well, you are not probably going to get angry at the stick, isn't it? Because you think the person is responsible, right? Stick did not, hit you on its own. So you hold the person responsible and you're like to get the person, right, angry. But now if you take a little moment, say, the person in a sense is more like a stick because he has become the victim of his delusions, isn't it? The delusions are so powerful and his anger is so intense so his anger, right, dominated him. So he was used as he used the stick to hit you. So his anger or delusion used him to, do that to you. So if you're really going to get mad or angry at something, then it should be his or her delusion, isn't it? So like that, we will be able to diffuse, right, the situation here a little bit as we think about that. So that's one way, kind of analyzing, the situation of the object that upset you or make you angry, and we lose patience, isn't it? But then the other ways to do that, we also look at, to what extent, what's my role in all of these things, isn't it? If, we have, never, let's say we have never created any cause, to be able to have that experience, we will never experience. Nobody's going to get upset with us. Nobody's going to get mad with us. It means that in our own mind, we might have the imprints of some karmas, right, from the past. So that's also, is part of this. It's not just the other person hitting you. It's your imprint of the karma. Maybe in the past, right, you hit the person, So it is the return of the will of karma here, right? So like that, we look from different angles and then try to diffuse the situation, isn't it? Yeah. So that's, just one example.
근데 디가는 또 상당히 배워요. 아주 신경당주 맛이 벌라이죠, 봐.
No.
토마메와는 아주 디체워로. 제가 아주 신주 체워 말한 아주 공도사에 맞아 신주 맞아 초는 초지선 장 거라.
No.
그래서 초지선 말한 것이 신주 지역에 와 있는 것도 공로사고 중선 시라면 찬로 그래서 가르치는 라바이나 아주 좋아 도만 매발라 미티기 소수술에 파마시 용해야 들어와 아니 아주 답배셔는 나지닝 하는 미지기 소수를 하고 쉬우지 체요이나 아니 드림미디기 소수를 두고라고 땅바이나 그럼 거기에만 장부제조 상마 제로요라 제chen 드림 코랑게디 노부탄조로라 그러다 지잉에 발라다 디 코랑라 응전체네 아니 딜라파민 아니 방아주 파 콜라 지 너네 던데 상도 코디고라 제가 던데 상도 마카지 지조왕 하마라소바도 줄이야 수술을 주 거기 야부 쉬우치여와 야부 쉬우치여와 나제 아니 가르스 그러다 수술을 야부 쉬우치여와 주 텐토웨이나 아니 가도 니가 수술 주도고 당한테 제로 그러와 어디 이제 여기 탈람도 제와이나 아니 수술이나 뱀보여라
So Geshe says that, usually why we can easily get upset or angry or lose patience is because we become very reactive, isn't it? We just follow the feelings. We really don't use our critical thinking power to just take a moment and say what's happening and why this is happening, right? We just let the feelings rule over us and become very reactive, isn't it? And now from Buddhist point of view, another way to look at this is, if we look over many rebirths or lifetimes, right, we have been, relationally connected in a very positive way, right? We talk about a mother as the best example of the best friend, isn't it? So we all have been mothers of each other in the past, or we all have been our best friends in the past, isn't it? So as best friends and mothers, we obviously helped each other a lot, and we benefited each other a lot. And so as the life situation changes, so then we play different roles, and it is like we forgot about all the kindness before, isn't it? And we just become very reactive in a situation given. The example Geshe gives is like, say, one person a couple of months ago were very helpful to you when you really needed help, isn't it? Then somehow that you forgot, and then this very moment, this person said the dumbest thing to you. Now you got so upset. You said, this is so unfair, and why on the earth you would do this to me or beat me, isn't it? And so we get so situationally caught up and forgot about this, isn't it? We forgot about the kindness that he did to you before, isn't it? And so if we think that way, so we all have been benefited each other a lot. It's not like we have been annoying each other. So thinking that way, also from positive angle, that could also help us to be able to control ourselves or deal with our, impatience. Yeah. Yes, please.
Once read in a book that I think it was Maitreya's Compendium of Wisdom in India, that you're not advised not planting plants in front of the temple that have sharp spines or needles on them, because when people see them, they might generate the thought of harmful intent.
Okay.
I'm asking about that. Because we have plants here with needles on them outside the temple,
Right.
and I actually read this in Maitreya's Compendium of Wisdom.
Okay, so say me one. I missed something there in one.
You're
You're not
it's
going to
advised not to plant plants in front of the temple
Right.
that have spines or needles on them,
Yes, yes.
because when people see them,
Yes.
they might generate harmful intent.
Uh-huh.
Whenever I walk around the neighborhood and I see cactus, I go, oh my God, that's dangerous.
Okay, sure. I'll have Quran condition that this go the chambe zebe shungji na la gudo again. Dina la dinde page to sa de pe Quran jubu chung jerwa. And then the combat and then dinde na ya dana that's station on the therma chain yorwa. The tabi yomares, di chevena and meet the carso tonda mebelia that miss semaji chagres rwa. Chasigress, because in Quran, the one on the diva cactus again, this summer change to what? Or did it tell you to go, some must in this, did some room change with those or what? Did the Casore, the paid the Kujitaka reverse or the Castle, did 지 칼로
그거는 정말 더지요 말했어.
근데 다만 미 세밀야 지 머루 못hen시 그래서 와게 다 참아디 밀리언 뉴고도 디 가르치는 걸 짜ssen 거 섬서 로와 근데 돈다
되는 건 통만요.
Geshe said, he doesn't remember that statement you just read, so he don't know what to say about that,
아니
Yeah.
지당 가족이 치마여와 있는 수수생하고 송토는 거기 유일로 가리면 제박해요 말했어. 그래서 저
함디 랍신다들 와게.
빼난다.
사댕요 이거.
생제면서 나가셔와. 대다 용지 용만서. 토이 신디 지존나. 안에 거를 토이 신디 좀 라데 단지 총동라서. 아니 사딘다 타요도 대다 단지 가르사.
고베요.
고이도 메시지로.
What Geshe so what he remembers is this, that as the Bodhisattva Master Shantideva says in his guide, that the whole environments can be very unfavorable, whatever it is, but if you can protect your mind, then really these external things cannot affect you. And the example given by Shantideva is that if the whole surface has thorny plants that can, you cannot find enough leather to cover the whole surface, but you put that leather sole to your shoes and don't walk, you are protected. So like that, maybe the whole world is mad with you, but if you can control your anger, then nobody's your enemy there, right? They cannot do, they cannot disturb your mind. So that's what he remembers, he wants to share.
Talking about the actual plants.
Yeah, right. I know.
Okay.
He said, yeah. He said,
When I walk around the neighborhood,
right.
There's a beautiful little white ball, and it has all these needles sticking out of it. And my first reaction is, my God, that's dangerous.
Right. 그래서 이제 상로 코트고도 디데 이제 용서로서 담담 그 지가리 년가 용서 섬 디데게 도스 마로로게. 디데 참아들와.
네.
It's like things, if you just feel that reaction, that's not necessarily negative anything, right? That helps you to protect yourself, right? But if somehow you let yourself angry, like, oh my God, these characters, here, then, we lost it, right? But if you think, okay, these characters, I have to be very careful, I don't want to be hurt, right? That's okay, right? That's very much.
섬조체야당 소소 거기 유디라야 유디 수술만에 섬조체야 되게 고고라당. 근데 유디 통도 수술마지부서 저는 수술 총로와. 이미 쳐보세요.
Right. So what we talk about in the Buddha Dharma is that we have every right to protect ourselves from potential harms, isn't it? So we all want to be happy, and so to be happy, we really need to safeguard our mind from many potential, disturbing elements, right? That's the only way we can stay peaceful and happy. If we let our mind be influenced by them, then we get what we don't want, unhappiness.
So what happens if your brakes don't work on your car? You ignore it and recite the Buddha?
Say it again. If you break your
What if the brakes don't work on your car?
Uh-huh.
You decide, oh, well, I'll just do what you say right now. You could have an accident.
Okay, I didn't understand the second part. If you break your car, like if your car brake
Brakes
fails,
don't work on your car, and you don't
then you
don't
can
do
fix
something
it, right? You
about
don't
it.
have to get upset, right?
What's
you don't
that?
have to get upset with the brake and
No, I'm
brake.
not
You can
saying
fix
get
it.
upset. I'm not talking about removing the cause.
Oh, sure. Oh, okay.
You would
I
fix
see.
the brakes.
Okay, that's what you mean, right? Yeah.
So I'm suggesting maybe if there were thorny plants around,
Right. Better
were-
not plant them. That's what
or
I'm
have-
saying.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And I
Sure.
actually remember the quote in Maitreya's Compendium of Wisdom.
Oh, sure.
You're not.
Right.
It suggested not to put
Alright.
thorny
Sure.
objects in front of the temple.
Yeah, now we got your point. I'll tell him that, right? Because we didn't know what your point was, so he didn't know that statement, right? So he can react to that. Ko lai de tonda din sa rowa. Ta tonda me be ki any tungwe ki chud ne de ye bena chud pa pang go res rowa ge. Kombe so le chama dab ji yo ma res ti tonda me bil new res rowa. O ji la go yo sa ma do bena mora ro ji break fail chen rowa. Breaks che so na rowa. Break the maso na tin yo yo ma rowa sa rowa ge. So that is yeah, now he got your point. He said, okay. Now they dig it over chama ma de.
별로 신동가 싶다 제 그간이 거기라도.
Oh, I see. Now he understood why, because you were thinking of yes. Geshe, remember that, yes. Geshe, remember that. Now why you are saying that? It's between two of you who live here, right? Yeah. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm bringing the conversation back to the Chittamatra school.
Yes.
So back
Sure,
to the
sure.
teaching. And just to give a little background for Cynthia,
Yeah.
we've been studying how different schools within the Buddhist system look at reality. Because we think that the way you look at reality will influence and kind of dictate those negative emotions that would come up. So if you see something as a danger, you'll freak out. If you see it as beautiful, you'll
Right.
appreciate it. So we've been looking. So one of the schools is called the Chittamatra schools. That's my questions about that. I'm just giving you the background, okay? Just so you're not, what is she talking about?
Yeah.
So in here, it seems like if I'm looking at the school
Yeah.
and how they're looking at reality,
Yes.
they don't accept external reality. They think everything arises internally from the same seed.
Imprint or something.
Yeah, the same imprint or the same seed, whatever appears to them and the person, and they seem to really need to posit that mind basis of all because they want that something that goes from life to life and that something that holds those imprints and that something. They seem to really want that. So like that's their way of holding on to something that exists versus everything else that doesn't exist. I've been sitting down with that idea, trying to see how they would actually meditate. So because they, like from our lineage, most of our texts, if not, let's say most of our texts, are written from the Prasangika point of view. And that colors or dictates or kind of influences how all our sadhanas are written, all our practices are done, all our meditations are informed by and written from that perspective. If I look at the Chittamatra, I start to wonder how they're practicing when I'm standing where they are. And I know that a lot of what they do is related to Mahamudra. So I'm kind of curious what Geshe thinks about that. And how would they think that would accomplish enlightenment?
Oh, sure. Morangi condition the discord again. Samsamba Girwa. The king that Shungche is the Samsamba de Rogan. Then a Samsamba that Chidden Shaggy or Marwasa Rogan. And it that church Hamje Karsa Reda, Park at Thong Tabadi, that Simgi Paksa Pashagun Rogan. Now Sim da Kunini, the Tucker, Tanyi, but the Judge will go again. The rest of the Shuroke, Chidden is against Yomares. And it's that you're watching the chick drop over the shade, goes up, Quincy second, came Malayan, so again, you're watching the chicken door work. That I'm going to turn a chick, got the Quincy again, rushing over the temple over the Conscardi or something. Temper, that's the double good mother, then you are to watch it. Temper, they can man, you're watching rushing. This is what just the Morangi, trying to this again. Another Namju Yongda. Ji com Jabda and Yamne Chetaka Kadu in a Dangadushun share the Umatinju with Lucy Sarge and Rogan, sharing those Rogan. That under same time we get Lucy Sarge Debbie in a Rogan, and com Yamle Chev in a condition with the Benaconzo, the Sanje Coban Dugo Rogan. The Koran's Lam, Nashin Drodena, and Sanje Coban can stop to the com condition Yamne or as or what. They call that one the sometimes again Chucky Chambolia, Jig Dotagor Dagomare.
신점elo 디치단에 신점이 단단 가서 신외바도 관해 요소요.
What a dig can come down that Yorwa. The same time Lucy Sarah and Sanjay, the come down that Yorwa. What did you say?
어디랑가 요마레다. 신점이 루시자체는 가서 신외바도 요소.
But the Koran's around is what that the Tinju by the
신점이 루시자체.
Koran, the come down the Sanjay but road.
다디 나중에 가서 좋다만 도스적고요. 신점은 너바다를 제와이는 Koran 기타다 신점이 용 나로시에 왔는 시자 제는 거 상지살 로샤이다.
어디 도단 데 come to shirose.
No, study gonja 나주 내심마다서 주루라서 더 참아 신점이 용 지버. 셴바도 지버와. 내심마다 데버시도. 월시마시도. 다 타투기 따와도 어디가를 신점로래나 아니 주도면 버세야죠와. 타투기 따와가서 텐주로 시작하는 동반이세야죠와. 동반이 가서 라신시마로 동반이 디 찹도 지버시 한지 코란스도 기주리도 마도 버들와. 원지진 동화세야 코란스 따와들와. 디 공치는 디 다가랑 공치는 상직살로야티.
치든 매버디 콤네
어디랑 공도야래.
디기 가서 다지 방자셔로와. 그런 거저 돈이 콤
저도 두번 좀바디
알에 치르는 거죠.
다 취지다는 샤워 선생님들과 선생님들과 취지다는데 가르치르던 또 두번 좀바디 샤주시.
치르던 도와래.
네. 다디
도와래.
치르던 마도 버들 공치는
공치는 아니 디기 뭐 다산이 몰래.
다테 지다 신점로라 저바데스 카리어라 되잖아. 도메 왕실로 되베 아니 줄이 가서 따와당 아니 가서 도바 이실로 되베 따와니 여러와 따와니 도메 왕실로 되베 따와디는 줄이던 도마도 버들에 아니 도바 이실로 되바디는 존진 지신 동화세들에 다티뉴보들 또 갈라 요메 지나 이차도 또 저바 여러와 이나 마차 지용단의 장례리신이보다 뜻이샤제바 인티니가 또 갈라 치와메스 아니 그런 파기 다준도 동 가가사마 또 이제 인티니가 지바인스 니가 동반이랑 차고 거다 센자몰로 동반이
차례 유지는 제신기 동화도바데다 치네 매부터
줄이던 말고 동반이보들 잘하면서 저도 저저지 된다고 하다 같이 또 갈라 단당아서 정년 컨디스야 좋아 지근은 좀 왜, 공기서 나로야나 유비소 따도 저 그래서 너무
다이나 텐주베 제번에 세메 받으러 또 월슬라 워
텐주로 나가 정말로 제와이나
세메 받으러 텐주베 때
나로로 제와이나 라우라 텐주로스나 당
텐주베 셰셰기로 관제 디바리
나가로디 텐주도 제바와 이네 디 두스레 양 디인도바다 루스수수수 저동 제와이나 한 텐주 루시자 제와이나 신sam을 루페 나데르다 나데르다 텐주로 파다당 제나 디지부지장다 신sam을 수 텐주도 나데샤 라이로 약혼이 봐서 지바로 이네 당가 중앙 루시자 제원도이나 아니 디송다 링아사도 나로라 아주 응아게 따와게 단당아주 고야죠와 또 고야들란도 되버데 이네 팽마레스 신자모다랑 주바다 텐주기 따와 송딩 아주 대동이 니스메비 시세죠 어디 동화데 나로라 용추도 근데양 체로 제도산에 아니 지 시멘바도 디 용야로 드리송야라
Okay, a lot of things. I will slow down. So first, what Geshe wants to say is that when we look within Buddhist schools of thought or tenets called Siddhanta, right, and there are a lot of disagreements with each other. From Prasangika's point of view, Chitta Martins on the mind-only school, they have a lot of limitations there, isn't it? But then from Chitta Martin's point of view, mind-only, they think Prasangika also, right, they are not right on the mark. So they both have that perception of each other. So that's one thing. But your question is, looking from Chitta Martin mind-only perspective, right, the possibility of attaining enlightenment, right? That's not bringing Prasangika into the picture. Of course, when we look at the Four Noble Truths, the basic truths, right? Chitta Martins accept many things, just like I can bet you guys. It's okay.
So the internet should be here.
I'll redo it. It's okay. Thank you. So, Chitta Martin or mind-only school point of view, and in terms of the Four Noble Truths, Buddhist schools, they have a lot of agreement there, right? The Four Noble Truths, the 16 attributes like that. But when it comes to the view, what called the ontological view, then they differ a lot from each other in many ways, So from Chitta Martin point of view, yes, as you said, they do not accept externally existent object or external objects we call chidan, So all things we see there are in fact the reflections of what we have got in the mind, And so they said that the sort of the emptiness, I don't know, they use the word emptiness, the voidness of external objects. If you reflect on that, meditate on that, then you are able to get rid of this grasping at external objects. So that is called what we call grasping at the self of phenomena from Chitta Martin point of view. So when you get rid of that, then that will help you to achieve enlightenment. In the Chitta Martin, they do present their ontological view from two different perspectives. One is from the what we call non-conceptual perception, tongme, and the one is from conceptual perspective. And so the scholars will have a little different here and there, but most of the scholars do accept that. So from non-conceptual perspective, right, we talk about the voidness of the external objects, right? When you non-conceptually perceive that, right, that'll get rid of grasping at the self of phenomena. From conceptual perspective, they will talk about the non-duality between subject and object, right? The non-duality between subject and object. Okay. Scholars have some say these two are not the same. One is a little subtle, one's whatever different. But most of the scholars accept that there is no difference of subtlety or coarseness between the non-duality of subject and object and the voidness of external objects. Okay, so these are the paths they cultivate, meditate, right? And through this, they believe they can achieve enlightenment. Right? That's just purely from their point of view. But earlier, Geshe said, so I might just translate this. So this we are looking only from Sutrayana point of view here and there, right? But then in the esoteric Tantric Buddhism, right, in the Tantras, especially in the Rimach Gyeltsen, the illustration of the 5 stages of completion stage is mentioned that because in the Tantric context, we talk about cultivating the path of non-dual bliss and voidness and emptiness, isn't it? And so there, masters will say that the ontological viewpoint in the Sautrantikas and the Vaibhasikas, that is not going to cut it. They cannot, right, help us to be able to experience that non-dual bliss emptiness. But at least the Chittamartin viewpoint, right, their ontological viewpoint, it can really take us to a certain higher level where we talk about the isolated mind level, right? Up to that level, they accept. Then from that, then they said you need to still, follow the Prasangika point of view, right? So that's from Tantric point of view only, right? So hopefully this was extensive response to your question. Yeah.
Yes. Then, also 내가 지하고 그거에 주더 시어로. 주더 시디 아니 가시기 처음에 저러다 같이 가도 그런 텐주와 다시하는 얘기도 와서 근데 마무치 상고 코어로 봐. 그래서 이 상고 코어로 때 휴지 리반에 오이나다 리고어로 봐. 때문에는 안절로 펜토야 될 거를 봐 시디나라. 주더 시디 송당데 빼니 뭐 가능해서 지레 통보 지레 인바이나 주통주 덴버 투버스 젠라디선 가속이 로도 템버 여러 봐. 로 마오 지레 인바이나 템버 여러 봐. 하더니 갈리 지 신장으로 레온데 전다 디나니 자샤로 데센 송베 다 네 영화용 돈이 오데 데마토 요레스 아니 콘다 데마마도 버레스 젠 당아서 당번에는 가서 천 하마고 인체 데마마도 버라는 예처 책말 그런 춘디 레이마로 로 레이마로 그래서 대인도 전 당번 너도 봐 당당도 콘스기로 데래야 한치 당지 데마토레스 전화에 통화 나신 요레스 같이 다디 송도 전에 안에 데마실라서 버든지 지리바 마오 지는 가서 로를 참아 지송으로 신장으로 레온데 전에 아니 다 디나네 로 콘다데 텐션 디 데마마도 버레 셴바니 디 데마도 버레 사지 다 라조빌로 레온데 전에 아니 추당지 데마마도 버레 세체 텐주로 레온데 다 데마마도 버자마서 라신치마도 버랑은마도 버레 세티 림반도 지마서 토타르 오마오마데 뭐픽 치레 송우도 데 송단데 아니 가서 로그 림발레 된 도송체 근데 로종 야오체네 바상치는 예번에 저지 오라 어디 제대산데 양 처음에 저래서 삼메데 텐죠
What Geshe also like to say is that in the Buddhist schools of thought or tenets, we talk about the 4 schools, right? We have a Vaibhasika school, Charamaba, then we have the Sautrantikas, Dodeba, then we have the mind-only school, Chittamartin, Semzamba, then we have the Madhyamika Umaba, right? And so many people might think that, what's the point of, talking about all this too many philosophical, stuff here, yagadi. Why can't we just focus on Prasangika and then, cut through that? If you are, some maybe exceptional cases, super duper sharp faculty, maybe that might work, we don't know, right? But most of the people, that's not going to work. And so we should not hold that kind of view that these different schools of thought are really not necessary. We can just only focus on the highest level and then just kind of fly through kind of thing. Because these often are said like the staircase or the rungs in the ladder, right? We have to climb up, And Geshe thinks that this is very beautifully presented. Actually, we look at this, right? That at the beginning, we are beginners, right? We really don't know much about the ontological status of phenomena, right? Even the word ontology seems like, what's that? Like a mantra. Explain that one. So, Vaibhasika school says like, everything exists just the way you experience it. Everything is truly existent, And that really works very well with our mind, isn't it? That's where we are, everything is truly existent, just the way you experience it, and so that seems to go well, isn't it? But then as we kind of, how should I say, and think a little more and we kind of improve our way of thinking then at the, let's say, level of, say, Chittamatrins, then they started to provide us more categories, right? Almost like there are some things truly existent, but the other things not truly existent. Before we were never told that, right? We said everything is truly existent, just the way you experience it. Life seems to be so simple, right? That's how I know it, Now in the Chittamatrin, they said, well, there are three natures of phenomena or characteristics of phenomena. We have what we call dependent nature, or I call it usually other dependent phenomena, Shenwang. And then we have Yongdruf, I call it thoroughly established phenomena. Here they translate as consummate nature or something, right? And they say that these two categories of phenomena are truly existent. Okay? But there is the what we call imagined nature of phenomena. Quinta, they are not truly existent. Now we become a little bit, right? There's some kind of distinctions being made, isn't it? Yeah. So now as we study this, okay, that's making more sense. Now we are not holding that everything is truly existent, because this started to make sense. There are some things not truly existent. Then we come to the Sevatantika Madhyamika school, Umar Ranggyupa, where they said nothing is like truly existent. But things could be objectively existent, but not truly existent, right? Now again, this is another perspective, right? Oh my gosh, right? So that means even the other dependent phenomena and established phenomena are not truly existent. Everything is not truly existent, you mean? Yeah. Then as we go higher up in the Prasangika, they said, you know what? Actually, that it's not only that things are not truly existent, they're not even intrinsically existent, right? There's nothing exists in and of itself at all. So you see how things are built really slowly and gradually so that it helps us where we are, and we grow a little bit more, understand, then it takes us there, isn't it? So for most of us, this works very well, right? But maybe some exceptional cases, we don't know. Maybe you can do the hop stick jump and go to Prasangika and go straight. We don't know that. That's possible. Yeah. You want to give an example?
Yeah. Shintagado servore, Tigalandore, Tijela Montra servore, Montragandore, Tizanandro, where the
Right, so it's just like, if we use a modern example, right, when our society was more kind of primitive, and we don't have technology advancement, so we use the block carts, isn't it? The carts drawn by the animals, and it's kind of slow, but it's very functional, right? Then, we have industrial revolution, and we started to make automobiles, cars. Now that's much faster than the block carts, isn't it? Now that's not fast enough, so we created the aeroplane. Now we're going to fly faster. So like that, right? Depending upon the development stage. So it's the same here too.
Going a little bit more into the
Sure.
Chittamatra school, we looked at how that school feels a strong need to have the mind basis of all, to make things make sense as far as next birth and things like that. But they also have this very strong need to posit a self-awareness. What do you call it in Tibetan?
Rangri.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm wondering what role that plays, again, in their methodology when they're sitting down from since Geshe brought in the Tantra, from the Sutra and the Tantra point of view, where's that being used?
Okay,
Because
the
they feel that,
self-awareness.
yeah.
Right, sure. Korang disagree that and the mutin conditional ya the sense of gi the kunshi dugo wagi. Jene and the konjo rangri dugo wagi. Sedu kala the rangri dikinanga karishadoina sa that dojo the ngaso yigan seven there wagi. Rangri said when yamle ya job in the wagi. Jinjai yung rangri di called Chile somewhere wagi. Ko kare the tondaru carry or so.
Hello, since I'm a little around this, said it's all the Sonia the Pejasher. Sonia,
No, so bad.
Comanche, Tagan Sonia. Then I race since I'm a little at the Tenju killing Omar. When is it Melavra? In a sense, I'm around this, it's an Penang as a one sheet chigro. One sheet chidus and one sheet Kurang Karachig to Tangan the Jalun and Tangan. Chi 배낭 가서 홍보라고 또 조즈라고 동해대 가는 가서 민 시버디 통거로
no
민 시버 코랑 수이 통거래라 되잖아.
그 보통 대비 수하고 그래서
라리디 통거래스. 그 가르치기도 땅에 들어. 그래. 이 신사 뭐 코랑서 가르라 되잖아. 코랑서 샤고야기 좀 센로도 바토도 되잖아. 오늘 아주 시버데서 코랑 조제지 고고도.
아네
아주 왕시 세야도 여바이나. 왕시 여바 수이
하고
달래.
그래서
하 수이 하고 그래라.
라리디.
근데 라리디 하고 그래서. 근데 또바 이시 여바인 또바 이시 치료도 동해 유지 또 지여바이나. 디수이 하고 그래라나.
랑리죠
라리치 그래서. 코랑서 디송 거.
알아도 뭐 동네 강가를 랑리 샤샤
그래래 시버 가르치는 바이나 코랑다랑.
알아도 그 소반에서 제대로 시신이라고 책을 말해
아
시신
시신은
괜찮을
쓰고
지금
말이야.
말이야
콘서 디스고 말. 가서 시신 있는 그런 데 데려와. 가르 총된다고.
총대로
콘서기랑 리스야 돼. 군용 원지 바레스. 이내랑 리스야 돼. 같이도 많이 봐지.
딩몽버 집에 믹스해 단디랑데 이등 오지 받체
원지.
아 치대다 낭대 이렇게 벌써 So the Rangrik, the culprit, I'm just kidding, he didn't say that. Self-awareness. So yes, Chitta Martins and Mind Only School, they do assert something called self-cognition or self-awareness, Rangrik, the Tibetan word is. Okay? And metaphorically, it's just like a spy, you know. So we have to spy on somebody, what he or she is doing, right? So like that, they said, there has to be self-knower or self-cognition, self-awareness, right, to find out what the sensory perceptions or any perceptions are doing, you know. That, for example, we talk about the visual perception of blue color, right? And how do we know there is such thing as visual perception of a blue color, right? And how is, how is it perceiving that? They said, well, there is a self-knower or Rangri, right, which looks at the visual perception. You know what I mean? So that's why, right? Otherwise, we have no way of establishing the perceptions of objects. So they said the way we can establish the perception of objects is because every one of them got a self-cognition or self-knower, Rangri, isn't it? So the Rangri looks at it, says, now the visual perception is seeing yellow, is seeing blue, you know what I mean? Yeah. So now that works with any conceptual perception too. So the self-knower works with every conceptual perceptions or non-conceptual perceptions, right? So that's their kind of the standpoint there, yeah. Okay. After this, we have to go back to Zoom. It looks like Zoom people are feeling left out, I think. So we will do that. He wants to finish his thought with your answer, then we go to the Zoom. Yeah. Kunshi said, that Rangji, the Nyamlen, the Kochi Kabayo Yamarganti, Dodanga, and the Kochi Nyamlen Jan shared. Yaba the code is your way. Sanja go on to be Rangi code there, Chagura, Sanzabula.
All the Tig Gomuas, Missy Goes came at it. The Randi, the Sanji,
so naturally, your mother in the Koga.
Your Shigorva. But Randi, the Kunchen Chagum and Langan Chagum, the Ichas to Jetsu Kagayota. Jisu in a row, Randi, the Sanji Sala and Rodisane, Lam Chagres. Nam Pension of each in the Namchen Chayak on the Lam Chayaki, Madison. Well, maybe just trying to complete your thought, right? I mean, whether it has any role play in the path to enlightenment or something. He said, well, there are different perspectives on that, According to Chizun Songyiba, the Chizun is the textbook author of the Sera, They would have said that the self-knower or self-cognition, eventually when you become Buddha, that becomes an omniscient mind, right? But the Panchen Sonata differs. It's that, no, it's not going to become omniscient, right? It just doesn't go, it cannot be cultivated as a path, according to Panchen Sonata, right? So it's just there. It just, it knows what the perceptions are doing, right? But it doesn't, you cannot cultivate it as a path to there. But the Chizun says, when you become Buddha, the Rangri becomes the part of enlightened mind.
This is only from Chittamatta perspective, right?
Right. Sometimes right. Right. That's right. Yeah. It's just still going with the right Chittamattan's point. That's right. Okay. So he wants to maybe address that the mind basis wall one more time.
kunshi se de da ande don de wa yore nyalen don de wa yore kunshi se de ngazo le kharchi sangyen sa ba in kunshi shasa gi pacha gi shasa gi dishi tishe go ro so tik yawo
lam je de kunshi ko lam mo ju do na
kunshi da du song yore da konzu gi lang ngong le ya ju ha song yore
la be sang mang je da ji she de gu ju
de
no so
lang ngong ju ha song yore ko shiba du ko ya ji tang wa
tama ko nam je cha do yo
kunshi gi ni chu go kunshi kono ranja de ma re sa je ba de san le on de san an kunshi jo je me wa in san kunshi ti pa ni chu de pa ji me long ta ba yi shi ne shiba nga na sen chi re ta
no sa je ba ne ale ko ju do go ta kunshi mai cha do it's quite complicated. The storehouse consciousness or the mind basis of all, Kunshi, Alayan Vijnan. But now that is important for the path, right? But cultivation, I mean, most scholars would say that you can cultivate that consciousness into the path, but it's as we talked about before with Geshe-la, that all kinds of karmic actions, good and bad, we do, that deposit the imprints on that, right? So it means all your practice, the imprints are deposited on the Kunshi, but then, even when we say that it can be cultivated as the path, it's up to a certain level in the sense that up to the 8th spiritual ground of Bodhisattvas, then the Kunshi transforms into something else. Kunshi, or the Alayan Vijnan does not stay as Alayan Vijnan. It undergoes transformation and then it continues to the enlightenment. So that perspective, from the 8th ground spiritual. Okay. On the 8th ground, the Alayan Vijnan, the storehouse consciousness, transforms into some other. It transforms into some that called jurisdiction.
Ni shiba mai ba chadu ko marda. Kunshi kono kunshi le ya da kono cheshu che.
Kunshi ki cheje de me ba chadu.
Ka nyu gi na dagar song chu go ra na ju kunshi lai jo ra. Nyu lan dancing re jo. Ro nyu di ane karso kunshi ti la da judi was na ko dagar song la ro nga. Dagar song no kunshi mi ba kunshi la mi ne ane ka na ba da tu ban zin zin ba nyu se sha go ro.
Nyu ro de.
Nyu la ro nga kunshi de nyu na shi chu jen de. Just sa je ba len de zin nyu zan ne jia me ba so sha ro. Nyu ngo de ko jia me sa ro. Cha sa ro. Ti cha za wen za ta kunshi de la ka de ne nyu da to song ji gu gu yo re se or da ro. gu gu san ta de nyu me ba so sha ro. nyu me ba so ji de kunshi gi che shu chang go ya ri ji ma chang cha ro. Ti ma chang cha de zan ne ko kunshi se de na ju nga zu gi she de kunshi na she me wa che. Na shi ngo ran ja yo. Shi ba ran ja re ko san ji sa la ma ro do na shi ngo ran ja re.
No, so. Yeah, when it says that on the 8th spiritual ground of Bodhisattva, storehouse consciousness, Alayan Vijnan, it undergoes changes. So it means it's going to lose its certain characteristic, because Alayan Vijnan has certain characteristic. The characteristic it loses is, as Geshe-la says, in the Chitta Mountain, when they accept 8 consciousnesses, right? There is what we call deluded consciousness, Nyunyi. Okay? The deluded consciousness, takes the storehouse consciousness as its focus and grasps at it as self. But on the 8th spiritual ground, the deluded consciousness is uprooted completely. It's not there anymore. So it's not grasping at the storehouse. So because it loses one of those characteristics, so it undergoes some change. So we're not saying that it is becoming like a non-consciousness, anything. So it's still consciousness, but it's not called Alayan Vijnan, right? It loses its characteristic and it goes.
The deluded consciousness is not Alayan Vijnan.
What?
The deluded consciousness.
Oh yeah, it's not Alayan Vijnan. That's right.
That disappears with the.
But Alayan Vijnan, because the deluded consciousness is grasping at it, so it's uprooted, right?
Yeah.
So
That had to do with storehouse consciousness.
Yes, that's one of the Nyunyi Kunshi Gyeltsen gi Tenzin te chadorwe.
Di le yo re ta di che chu na lo yo re.
Right. So because that deluded consciousness grasping at the storehouse is regarded as one of the features of the Alayan Vijnan storehouse consciousness. When you lose that feature or the characteristics, I don't know what you would call it, right? And
What is the feature? What's the feature? Feature of no, it's a separate consciousness.
Right. Cheche is kind of like a Koraniga or Namsha Madamani was a quick cheche of the Kalkara was.
Che chu la re da ko le zu ming hen ro ji dos tseyor다.
Oh no.
그런 제출란다. 군시스는 그런데 가로 그런 유도 챙에게 안에 니여든 요제 지나로 샤. 요제 니모네 비처럼
Al kunshi me tian la ba je nyi sha go le.
땡은 뭐지 니여로 말이다. 그런 유도 챙에로 샤.
Al la ko yu jing so che. Kunshi dong.
군시 유전으로 체. 니여고 콜랑을 미네. 그걸 다근 생고.
Ma de kunshi di yu ro che. Nyi yu di gu yu jing sha go.
네, 유전 차원. 네.
and this is the kunyi kaso number 7 tade ni sonza and kari dawa chago zago da nyi de me ba cha ro ra sa ye mane and kunshi ne yu gwa de kari cha ro so da
niyo de me ba cha ro de ro
kunshi ne yu gwa de kari kunshi mai ba cha ro wa de kari cha ro so da
di zo do de cha wa da kari no koral zu ming he ji ro wa da di dus ze ro koral che chu ran la ye na da koral koral ming he da ane kunshi gi da koral kunshi la je ro
kunshi ta kwa nyam de ye ba ba tang de ba do
di 샹라야 다 단다디 배셔셨나 냠샤들 걸 냥도 요 말에
shen yu ba ro
젠 요 버려
ale di da dawa che du go ye za ko chi cha ro
도 챤도 kunshi di 다니한테 매와 차로 그랬을 때
ale okay but that's so I think the future is not the right word right so it's like except in the deep meditative state right these two are together they are like a couple pair always isn't it. But then on the eighth ground, when the diluted consciousness is uprooted, now there's no more pairing here, isn't it? So that because of that relational sort of severance, they said the storehouse consciousness cannot be called storehouse consciousness. The label, isn't it? The name, so it affects that change.
The deluded consciousness doesn't deposit seeds of the predispositions for itself. One of the three types of predispositions that we heard about last week.
That's right.
If that deluded consciousness stops, then the predispositions are not deposited anymore. And this will change as a result.
알에 가장 개인기 순두 가라 디 군식이 계제 계셔로와 아니 가서로 군식 코란 디 먼저 박자 적사 되셔로와 아니 신 디가 간가 적제 차도로와 제가 뉴이디 군식도 박자 적제서다 다고 사 예반에 뉴이디 매저 박자 좋아요 말와 what's happening oh no that's okay yeah no I'll repeat the question if that's needed it's okay I understood the question but it's very simple not a whole paragraph then I'm not going to translate it but 그런 this word 군식이 계절 지샤로와 디나리 야다 군식이 박자 적사 되셔로와 디 멤버기 넘버 7가 박자 적제로와 디나 뉴이요로와 그래서 뉴이기 다 박자 좋아요 말고 매버 차로와 디처는 권내 유도고 저와
어거지 두스토체 따이나 단다들 저거 가시 지었다 드라중 비절이야 군식 열랑에 다동서 단다디나로 지르무치 단다 군식 간데요와 군식 간데 나로라 가호 초니로 당그러다 초지나로라 안에 사제와 드라중 비절이야 안에 그런 조제니부 매비치로 군식 요바 마인데 사지요래 디 멤비야 그런 저버저디 나주 드라중 받던 데즈질이야 군식 샤고도 세 딘데 저버지요래와 저버지요래 디치단 디님부터 파시도 채와이나
알아 요즘 매생이 사도 그런 이내다고 뉴로스라데 콜라랍게 타가지고 Again, I said this is another complex matter that debate with different perspectives. But going with what we just said, then I think what you said that's right, because as we said, the storehouse consciousness is the basis upon which all other imprints are deposited by all other consciousnesses. That includes the deluded consciousness, right? At the eighth spiritual ground, deluded consciousness is uprooted, so there's no more depositing. So that changes the storehouse a little bit. But again, in the Lama Tsongkhapa's what we call commentary on the difficult points related to the Kunshi storehouse, that's called Kunshi Kandel. So there are 2 points being made. The one is that on the eighth spiritual ground of Bodhisattva, right, the Kunshi undergoes changes, right, that's accepted. But then another perspective, they say, no, still, right, Kunshi exists on the eighth ground and even in the mind stream of arahats, So that's a different perspective, just the opposite of it. So there are different perspectives on this. Now I'll go back to the Zoom. Yeah.
Could you please explain why bodhicitta, for the benefit of sentient beings, is so pivotal to enlightenment?
Sure. Thank you. That was such a clear and make my life easy too. 자제에서 어느 간지 쉬어들어와 and senjen 탐제 정도 안에 상계 다 되는 창조심 지어와 and the basis 상계 고방토에 매나 미중을 지리 가리나 디 대시경로나서 다 청주심디 상계 터벌 인지미지 공예스로 하게 어디 대시경로나서
장주 신들어
청주심세게 상계 다 상계 고방토에로 와 매나 만딩에 차데 디 가리나서 디 대시시 인제로
디조디로 다 상지지 고방 코랑 가르라 디선 신제 탄조기 더 두야기 루투행이 때 되게 체주요 저 차되고 여러 그래서 그때 신제 탄조기 더 루투야기 체주 되게 차고요는 디 조디 코랑도 리송지 고라
나오네
그런 막이 상지산 신제 탄조기 더 루비 세야기 리부디 된데 자첨부지 인바이나 대동 리송비 주지 주에 랍첨부지 고고요 언테인데 잔네 코닝이 되와데 되고 고라 당한조 베시는 신제 마무 쉬우질 더 루비라 소소기 자와디 가서 이제 내로도 제바이나 배 자차도 못하면 보랑에 로바 책이 있으지만 돈이 된지 고요 라바체 내가 제야데 수수 그 상처 된다 내가 루딩이 지는 그 지마데 루토야 리와코 리와스키면도 와 리와도 와 언테 제디산에 소데레다 초지디 송요 춘디 차고 하다 가서 되지 리반도 돈이 제바이나 아니 존난 조던데 송요 와 아니 시디 방와라 양에 봐도 장주 생기 자주 고르 송요 아니 단진 주부 방와라 아니 장주 생기 때 장주 생의 니지 참보기 탑 자주도 고 말해서 아니 상지지고 시디 방으로 제발라 아니 거를 더 자체 못 주고 그래서 대선 다초 노랑이로 자서
So Geshe would like to answer that from two different perspectives. Okay, so the number one is why bodhicitta, or the mind of enlightenment, we call it, is essential for enlightenment, attaining Buddhahood, is because Buddhahood is the goal, right? And our belief is that when you achieve that state, right, you become enlightened, now you have the real abilities to be able to benefit all sentient beings, isn't it? But that's the result we are seeking. So in order to achieve that kind of outcome or result, we have to cultivate a cause that really is agreeable, right? It's concordant with that result in terms of the what we call aspects. And bodhicitta is that, because I would like to achieve enlightenment, right, in order to benefit all beings. So when you become enlightened, you can actually do that. But until then, right, we don't have that. So this bodhicitta is a very expansive, means very broad mind, right, that covers all sentient beings. Just like when you become Buddha, you want to benefit all beings, right, without discrimination. So that's one answer. Another perspective from which Geshe was answered that is in the authentic Buddhist treatises, it is said that if your goal is to achieve enlightenment, Buddhahood, then you need to get rid of not only the delusions, but also what we call cognitive obscuration, obscuration to omniscience, isn't it? We call shedip. And in order to get rid of the shedip, cognitive obscuration, one must have bodhicitta, enlightenment, combined with the wisdom gone beyond. Otherwise, that wisdom alone cannot, yield the enlightenment as a result, right? If you just want to be free from samsara, then bodhicitta is not needed, great compassion not needed, right? But if we want to be enlightened, then great compassion and bodhicitta are must, because otherwise we cannot get rid of cognitive obscuration. Right?
But why is that? Why is that?
저도 시리방을 이제 청주심 고야 돼 가르쳐 돼 그래서. 시리방을 청주. Right, yeah. So why do we need? So the question, yeah. Okay, I will do. Yeah. So the question asked is, so why do we need bodhicitta, right, to be able to get rid or uproot cognitive obscuration? 시리방을 청주 센데 내봐도 고야 돼 가리나 사김제로.
중생도 제가 더 자체모 된데 매와이나 시리방 두고 매마래 송해야 되나.
네.
그러나 시리드 방카요 그래서 뭐라다. 시리드 방카 그 단진 간주기 단진 방에도 저거 콘진동게 돈 방두고요 그래서 뭐라. 다디 가나 코나 바샤도 제가 매워서 제가라. 아니 저로디 아니 잡 코나를 잡지고 그래라고 하다. 그래서 내가 자체모지 제바다 집어라 봐. 대체는 지지가 세도 보고요 나라 봐. 지지 세도 보고요나. 안 될 슈장에 자로는 슈장에 야고지 고도스 대도 빼셔요 그래서 그래서 더 시리도 방하고 쉬어요 그래서 아니 디방을 제발 아니 장주지 생디 요바는 슈자고라 되면은 안에 그 단진 주 방치는 얘도 다시 맞춰야 되냐가 여러 산지 고방 토발라 시디 방고요 그래 산지 고방 토는 그런 자신 슈지 줘야 제도 tako shidi pangwe jongse derwa ta ti pangor chebala domanya kono kanhong di bet sinja thangju tan rugi ti dur chebala shidi pangu du ti pangi ti pang san pang thona an shin sinja thangju tan ru to sanji ko ma do thogo yor so this is some do shin ya rigu
so Geshe says that in order to achieve just like say personal nirvana from samsara, we just only need uproot grasping at self. And so this can be done if we look at how we are grasping at self to exist and how does it actually exist. When we see the disparity or the gap there, then through that realization and cultivating it, we can uproot it, right? Whereas, to get rid of the cognitive obscuration, it's related to what we call cultivating this extensive skillful method, upaya, without which we cannot benefit all beings, right? That's our goal to be Buddha. We want to benefit all beings. And so that requires extensive upaya or the skillful means practice. And so the bodhicitta is related to that, right? From the beginning we said, okay, I want to be Buddha to benefit all beings, isn't it? That very expensive mind is cultivated. And so with that, it adds more power to the wisdom, right, to be able to uproot the cognitive obscuration. That's the reason.
아니 가서 셰디디 고바기디 정말로 자셔요. 근데 고바디 단진다고 지로. 당가서 내주 지나로 고바지 차체 거기 정말도 찹돼요. 아니는 고바디 바탕 어디 단진 방원다 집어체. 디 정말도 가서 다 아줘라서 버치다 야고지 못하는 정말도 얘기 말와. 대나진 잡주 셴바지 고고도 와. 디페 샤는 되게 이제스라.
So I think one of the examples they often use to how should I say explain this is, let's say, if we have a garlic in a container or something, right? The garlic smells, and so getting rid of the garlic itself, throw it away. That's almost like uprooting, grasping at self. But then even if you throw the garlic away, it has stayed there long. The smell stays, isn't it? So that requires extra effort, right, to be able to remove that smell or the stain, isn't it? So just simply throwing the garlic is not enough because you need to use extra detergent or I don't know some other thing to polish. So like that, the grasping itself, even it's uprooted, right? There is still the smell like cognitive obscuration there. So that requires more effort, right, to get rid of.
But the effort,
yeah.
The effort is the meditation on emptiness. It's not bodhicitta. We're talking about bodhicitta.
Right.
How
but
is
for
that?
the cognitive obscuration.
Yeah, the cognitive. It's
together,
still
right?
Regardless, it's always
Right.
you're always removing obscurations by the meditation on emptiness, not bodhicitta. So that's the question.
Okay, I'll ask that question. At Korang disagree. That tanda ditende gdwan. Dan shidi the that chongwala the changju sem the kugu yorwa. In one chongje ge lam dirwa. And the tongi to be set up tagara ready on Marvesa. Because I'm doing on the lam city color again.
슈장에 주고로. 거기에 단진디 판사는 그런 헬레 차선 샤샤그로. 그래서 전주 생명.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. The wisdom gone beyond is the path that's going to remove that, but it does not have enough power. So that's the bodhicitta. It only adds power to that, right? So that added power is needed for the wisdom, right? It is the wisdom. You're right. Right. Yeah. Yes, I'm going back to the Zoom again. No. Okay. Okay. So we have one more question. I think time. Anybody else who did not ask question? Oh, yes, go ahead. Yeah, please keep the mic so that. Sure. Yeah.
Geshe is not feeling well. There's the medicine Buddha mandala over there. All the flowers are on top of it, obscuring it. Where'd they come from? Is that appropriate? Could that be connected to Geshe-la's not feeling well, that somebody's put all those flowers on top of the medicine Buddha mandala?
Okay. 알아 그런 다가 들었던 거다. 이제 처음에 저러와. 개인 구수 대비 요마로 와서 개인 아주 김고여로 와. 김고 가려면도 망고 싶이 샤샤 개인 요거 자야쳐도 메도 샤래 동담에 요 메도 되게 샤고 수샤래서 다고 룽데 거. 아. 네.
너무 센터 맞지.
네.
된대와요 말이야.
아래 코리아디 가서다 퓨샤버 소스로와. 로와. 퓨샤버 소스함 디고로와.
네, 퓨샤저로 너무 말했어. 된대와요 말했어.
Right, Geshe says he doesn't know who put it there, right? So we don't know the reason there. But what they can think of that, the way they see is that, it's like offering flowers to the mandala there, right? And then with the prayer that Geshe, heals soon. But we don't know who put it there and what was their mindset. Right.
Nevertheless,
Yeah.
I think it's inappropriate to have the flowers on top of the medicine Buddha mandala, okay?
Yes. Okay, with that, so we will close off and just a short dedication. Cynthia, how lively we are here. So you enjoyed today, right? There you see. We can be very open and discussion here, and sometimes we have heated debates. So, Chanjo semjo rembo je maje bana gejo je yewa nyamba gone gondo bewa sho dongni dawa rembo je maje bana gejo yewa nyamba mewa yang gone gondo bewa sho yewa gondo yangda lama dan deme che ye bela lonje sada lamje yende rabzo nen doje changye go ba nyu do